Welcome to It Seems Complicated. It's human.
Obviously.
Hey X, what's wrong? What are you doing with that world map?
There are discrepancies here, Bobby.
It's B-O-B.
Maybe the sensors of my spaceship were broken.
You mean your ship's radar? Oh my gosh, you're spinning in the loop again. I am so sorry. Damn palindromes. They are everywhere. I'm sorry, X. Here, inhale your silicon dioxide. There. Much better. I swear I will be more careful in the future. Anyway, what's wrong with your ship?
These lines on your planet's map. I can't see them with any of my sensors. I tried all of the spectrum: gamma, X-ray, ultraviolet, visible, infrared, microwave, radio, fridge, but nothing seems to pick them up. Do you know what they are?
Oh, that's simple. Those are borders. They are imaginary lines that demark territories that we call countries.
Oh, imaginary. Why do you need countries?
Oh, that's simple. To keep people safe, so that they all have their own space.
Oh, why are countries all different in shape and size?
As I said, it's complicated. People have created borders ever since the beginning of time. Actually, only from when our ancestors decided to stop moving around and settled to start farming. And ever since, the territories have changed because of wars, treaties, and conquests. The maps got updated and now they look like this one. But each country has its own story on why its borders are the way they are, and they might change in the future.
How do you update all the maps?
Don't look behind it, it's just paper. You would have to reprint them. Plus, obviously, you also have online versions that get updated much faster and easily.
Obviously. Do you need to change all of them?
Yeah, but they don't change very often unless there is a war. So it's usually okay to trust them for a while.
Are there any active wars now?
Let me check. 5 major wars, 38 conflicts, 19 skirmishes and clashes.
So...
But it still usually takes a while before they result in officially changing the borders of a country.
I see. What is this huge island down here? Why aren't there any borders?
That's all one big country. And people who took control of that island about 300 years ago were felons and outlaws. They were sent there from these islands up here to get rid of them. So they were probably not really big in formalities.
Oh, I see. What about this tiny one inside this area that resembles a boot?
Oh, that one. Do you recall our chat about religion last time?
Yes.
Well, the leader of the most popular religion on the planet has its own country.
Oh, I see. I thought religion was about answering difficult questions, not owning territories.
Well, yeah, sometimes people get confused between things like where does Earth come from and who is supposed to own it.
Why are most borders irregular in this central area here?
Borders often use the geography of the terrain to make them clearer.
I see, because they are invisible.
Yeah.
And why are all these lines straight in this big territory right below it?
Well, at some point in history, about 500 years ago, the guys from above came down and conquered most of those territories. And to avoid issues in marking which parts were whom, they just drew them as straight lines.
So the borders of their own countries are irregular, but the ones of the places they conquered are straight?
Yeah, apparently so.
What about this one to the right of this big body of water? It also seems to have very straight lines. The bottom of it looks like an inverted triangle.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Remember our chat about religions when we talked about the minority who are really good with money?
Yes, 0.2% of Earth's people.
Well, about 100 years ago, there were 2 very big wars, and they ended up being real tragedies. In particular, at the end of the second one, millions of them were killed. So at the end of the war, they were given part of that land to keep them safe.
To keep them safe. Who owned that land they gave them?
Nobody quite agreed on that, but officially it was owned by the people from the islands we talked about before.
Oh, I see. Those islands again. They seem to have a lot of activity far from their home. And did their plan work?
Well, no. But they left the region, so it's someone else's problem now. And the neighboring countries don't agree on where the actual borders are either.
Oh, disagree on borders. I see. The only clear border I could see from space is this big and long wall. That's easy to see. Why don't you make all borders with a wall?
Actually, that is not a border anymore. Anyway, there are actually people who think that walls are more appropriate, or that some fencing will suffice, depending if you ask them before or after the elections.
Elections?
Never mind. What did you want to know about the big wall?
Why was it built?
Well, most people think it was to defend this vast country from invaders. Others who studied it recently think it was to monitor or block civilian movements, as well as to trade, move soldiers around, and also to protect from attackers.
Did it work?
Let me just tell you that the DNA of the leader of the invaders was recently found in more than 16 million people who live in that area, like 8% of them. Can you imagine how many?
Yes, 0.5% of your planet population. So, apart from this wall that is not a border, how do you know where the borders are in reality if they are invisible?
If you are on the roads that cross them, at the crossing points, there are usually authorities who might stop you to check if you can pass.
What about if you are just walking and you cross it without realizing it? Does something stop you?
No.
An energy barrier?
No.
Energy pools?
No.
Do they at least discharge your energy?
No, nothing happens, X.
Oh, I see. So how do these lines that are invisible, that change over time, that not everybody agrees on, and that you might cross without consequences, keep people safe?
It's simple. You are not supposed to cross them if you're not allowed.
How do you know if you are allowed, and how do you become allowed?
It's simple. You have to obtain a document, a permit.
So if you have these documents, you can cross all the borders?
I told you, it's complicated. In some countries, you can enter only if you come from a country that they recognize and that is friendly to them. Then you might be allowed to enter only for a certain amount of time, or you might be allowed to stay only for certain reasons, or you will have to leave and come back with a new permit. As I told you, the system is very complex to guarantee that all the bases are covered, all the edge cases addressed, and that everything is organized so that people are safe and there is no way you can stay in the country if you are not authorized with the appropriate documents.
Oh, I see. What if you are born in a country?
Yeah, then forget all I said. You are usually allowed to stay there forever, no questions asked.
I see. Why don't you want people to move around freely?
I told you. It's to keep them safe. Without borders, everyone would be able to go around all the places in the world, and most people would end up in the territories that are safer and richer, and that would give them more opportunities for a better life for them and their children.
And this is bad?
No. Yes. No. It's complicated. See, those areas would become overpopulated and would not have resources to support everyone. Also, all those people would have to agree on what's right or wrong, what costumes are allowed, and so on. With the borders, instead, we can keep people who think the same way apart from the ones who don't. And we can regulate who can move where, when, and for how long, and for what reasons.
I see. People thinking differently. Did it ever happen that a way of thinking became so popular That all people in the world just embraced it and there was no need to keep anybody separate?
Nobody was able to build a big and strong enough army yet. Don't you have anything like borders where you're from? How do you protect yourselves from your enemies?
In Curio, my city, the closest thing to borders that I can think of are the structures we use for when the rhinobounds come.
Haha, so you do have enemies.
Not really. They are not our enemies. They are swarms of small entities that can get supercharged with energy and they would hurt us if they go through us.
Haha, so you built a wall to keep them out of what you decided was your territory?
Not really. They can still pass through, but when they are in proximity of the structures we built, they release part of their energy so they are not dangerous to us anymore.
Haha, so you steal their energy to protect yourself?
Not really. They can exist in the supercharged state for a very limited time. Then they would implode. By discharging through our structures, they can continue to exist unharmed. This way, they don't get hurt, and we get free clean energy in the process.
I see. What about preventing other beings of your species from attacking you?
Why would they do that?
To steal your resources, your space, your stuff?
Each of us is bound to a small box like this one. We call it lemniscate, and it contains all we might ever need during our whole life.
How can it be all in that box? Show me.
It's infinite. Look. Just don't get too close to it.
Oh, I have never seen something so...
Infinite?
Yes. But what if someone wants to have more and tries to steal yours?
More than infinite?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Say that someone steals your box. Now that someone can have two.
Two infinites?
Yes.
Long time ago, there were some of us that thought like that. They had a widespread disease that would push them to want more and more, no matter how much they had. But that was pre-Enlightenment. After that was cured, the blue query made sure none of us was born with that disease.
Who?
Our generation system. Also, because we can be generated very quickly, but the boxes are a finite amount, it also makes sure that none of us comes into existence until a box becomes available.
Oh, with these ideas, you should really run for our presidential elections.
Elections again?
Sorry, forget about it. That's for another time. To get a free visa for Axis Planet, subscribe to our channel, share it only within your borders, and leave a review.
Travel fees are not included. I think I might have interrupted you when you were talking about the guy with the long distance. Sorry. I'm still working on picking up clues in human communication. You seemed to be admiring him. Was it the number of his descendants?
Who? Me? No. Yeah, maybe, kind of.
Your face turned red. The number of battles he won?
No, not those. Not really.
Your expressions look unusual. Was it the number of his conquests?
Yeah. Yes. Conquests. I think we can call them that. And drop it.